Hello. It has been a while since I've done one of these. So this channel has been pretty dead for the last little while, except for one video that I uploaded recently talking about a very funny situation with my comment section. I haven't really posted any videos, even these ones where I talk to the camera, except like soundtracks to some of the games that I'm making on Game Jolt, which, by the way, you should check that out. I I hit my hand on my lampshade. Okay, quick side tangent because I'm great at those. When I make videos in front of the green screen, I actually have to take the lampshade off of my lamp so that I can light it right. So a lot of the time I'll just have a lampshade kind of randomly just sitting on the floor. Anyways, that's completely irrelevant to anything. I'm making this video for a few reasons. The main one just being to update on what's been going on. So, as far as the channel goes, it's, well, I want to say it's not dead, but technically, yes, it is dead. What I'm trying to say is, I'm gonna revive it. Basically, I'm gonna start making videos again. I never really stopped. I wasn't trying to take a hiatus or anything, but what I've been working on is something that's taking a really long while, but I think that it's going to be worth it for the end product that comes out of it. Now, just for so damn long, I've been painfully vague about everything, so as much as I'm still going to be fairly vague, I am going to give a little more detail on what I'm doing. The main number one priority thing that I'm working on for this channel at the moment is something with Infinity Bit. Remember that? Remember that cringy bad series I made? Yeah, something with that. And that's just about as vague as what I've been saying up to this point, but it's not part of the new series thing, which I'm also simultaneously trying to work on. It is directly tied to and a part of the Infinity Bit series. And if all goes well, it might actually be a pretty good redemption of that series, as in it's actually going to be something good, which Infinity Bit is not. I've gone back to some of the Infinity Bit stuff a few times, and there's like only one or two of them that are actually decent enough that I'm even remotely proud of them. But Infinity Bit is kind of a mess, and ever since I finished up with the third season of it, I have been working on a script for this really, really cool thing that is turning out just great. And I'm even working on it with someone else, so unlike all the Infinity Bit projects up to this point, I am not the only one working on this one. I have a partner with this one, and we write some great comedy together, actually. And if what I'm trying to work on actually does come to fruition, it might actually be the best work of my life, which would be pretty cool. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say on that regard. I kind of feel like I owe an explanation, at least a slightly more in-depth explanation as to what I've been doing, as opposed to saying, I'm working on something, I promise. So that you know I'm not just bald-faced lying to you. That's not the only channel-related project that I'm trying to work on, although, on the topic of Infinity Bit, I do want to mention, Infinity Bit, if I can just sneak in my DVD collection for a second. I have all the Infinity Bit stuff on DVD. I don't know if I already showed this in a video. The movie even has a scene select. It's great. And as you might be able to tell, I am not really able to mass produce and sell them or anything, because, you know, I'm 15. So as cool as it would be to sell the DVDs, unfortunately I can't. However, what I can do is I can link in the description to a file for the ISOs that I use for the DVDs and the artwork that I printed out for the cases, so that you can make your own. Not sure why anyone would want that, but I realized that apparently you can actually just export a DVD ISO and it'll still contain all the videos and everything. So I'm going to put a link in the description to a file that'll have it'll have 8 files, 4 of them being the picture files for like the insert for the DVD case, and the other 4 being the ISO files, which will contain each season / the movie of Infinity Bit, and in a nice little DVD menu format, so you can burn it to your own disc. And if you don't want to burn it to your own disc, then that's cool. You can play it on your computer using VLC Media Player, which is pretty neat. So, yeah, Infinity Bit is not entirely dead, and despite what I said when I ended Season 3, it's also not over. Fun fact is that up to this point, every single time I've done something with Infinity Bit, I thought it was the end of the series. Originally it was just like a test run, because I wanted to start making more stuff like it. So Season 1 was originally the only season I planned on making, and then I thought that Season 1, the last episode, didn't go out the way that I originally wrote it to go out, because I rushed it. And I thought that I felt like it was unfinished, so then I made the movie because I thought that it would be a better conclusion to the story. And then I made Season 2 because I was bored, really. And also I had a bunch of ideas that I thought were cool that I never did in Season 1, and I just wanted to do those. And Season 2 is probably the highlight of the series, to be honest. I don't know. I have the most fun memories of that one. And that was supposed to be the end, mostly just because I got so burned out from it. Because Infinity Bit Season 2 was not fun to make at all. And then Season 3 happened, and as is kind of obvious if you've seen Season 3, that was also supposed to be the epic conclusion. One thing I will comment on is that I'm really going to be cutting a lot of the dead skin off of Infinity Bit when I bring it back. What I mean by that is, one thing that I took note of almost immediately when I rewatched any of it is that, oftentimes something that a lot of comedies do, and some of them fail as badly as I did with, is it'll try to have a serious moment where you're supposed to actually care about the characters or something, and it'll just fail hard. And I'm just not. I'm not going to try to be dramatic with it anymore. I'm not going to try and... obviously there'll still be character building and character relationships, but I won't get melodramatic with it and try and make the audience take it seriously, because that's not the purpose, and it's also something I'm not very good at. So the main focus of it will just be comedy and making people laugh. Something that I like to think I'm at least half decent at. Speaking of half-decent things, one other thing I want to throw in this video is mention the other life I've been leading recently in game development. Some of you may know I have a Game Jolt page, and I make games on it. How specific? I actually made a few games for Infinity Bit. A while ago, I already mentioned it on the channel. I made a game called Infinity Bit Falling to Bits, and that was a game on the NES, or the Nintendo Entertainment System, a console that I actually have now, which is pretty cool. And since then, I've also released a version for PC. And then I made another Infinity Bit game, also for the NES, which also has a PC version, and that one is the Infinity Bit movie game, and it's based off the movie. And then aside from those, I also have other games, like the ones that I'm really trying to push hard at the moment, which is Battery Chad Shock the World. I hate saying the name because it's a really dumb name, but it's difficult to come up with a clever name using the word battery. Basically, it's a somewhat generic platformer for the NES, with good music, I think. I'm really proud of the music, for all of the games, but this one especially. And it's themed around batteries. And then there's Battery Chad Builder, which is literally pretty much just a ripoff of Mario Maker, but for my generic platformer game. Although one thing it has that Mario Maker does not is that you can combine your levels into one thing. So like when you save levels, you can save up to 99 of them as a world, which basically means you can create an entire game in it and save it as one file. And I don't know, I just think that that's pretty cool. Also, some of you may remember that when I started up my now long abandoned website for Infinity Bit, I put some cool little Flash games on there that I whipped up that were kind of like pseudo-sequels to other Flash games I made before that for the first feature film I made, which I have now privated. And speaking of which, that film's anniversary, or as I like to refer to it, Pill's birthday, was a few days ago on October the 10th. Sorry, that's completely unrelated. This video is already 10 minutes. It's going to be another unnecessarily long one. What was I talking about? Right. I whipped up some Flash games. I whipped up 6 of them. They were basically like a rip-off of the Wii games, you know? It had like rip-off Mii's, and it had a rip-off Wii Sports, and it was very simplified, because, you know, it's in Flash and it runs in a browser, but still. And I dug those up a little while ago, and I thought that, at least compared to a lot of the other games that I've made in Flash, they actually held up pretty okay. So I re-released them on GameJolt as a bundle called Formula Fanboys Crewman Collection. And it's basically just all 6 of the games, but in a zip file, and there's an EXE and SWF version of each one. So that's a thing. Not really a new game, not really a game even, but just I wanted to put them somewhere other than a dead website that nobody probably even visits in the first place. And as I briefly mentioned before, all of the games that I make there also have soundtracks, and I'm actually pretty proud of how they turned out. Really, the one that's the most like of a mixed bag is the Falling to Bits, which was the first one that I made. And I say mixed bag because it's one of those where it has some of the best music that I've made, and it also has a lot of like filler stuff, because the game had 5 worlds, and each world, at least 4 of them, had a like a main theme and then a battle theme for when there are enemies in it. So, and that combined with the fact that the NES chip can't hold a whole lot of memory, and I had to even cut a few songs down, meant that some of the songs in there aren't really songs, but just very short loops. I've uploaded all of the soundtracks on this channel, actually, and I'll link in the description, amongst many other things, where you can find a playlist of all of them in order of my favorite to my least favorite. And then after that, there's, I gotta stop saying, there's the Infinity Bit movie game soundtrack, which is kind of, it's not bad, it's just short, and a lot of the tunes are nice, but they just loop faster than they should. And then after that, there's the Battery Chad ones, which I think are turned out great. With the platformer, it, I think, did what I wanted it to in catching the essence of 80s NES platformers. And then in the Builder one, like in Mario Maker, it's just variations of the original songs in the original game, but editing, and it's the only one that isn't 8-bit out of all of them. I still made it in FamiTracker, but it's the only one out of all of them that doesn't sound like 8-bit chiptune music, even though it technically is, and it sounds like actual instrumental music. I'd really, really, really love it if you could check it out, because not a lot of people do, and in a lot of ways I can Stop shaking. In a lot of ways I can understand why. Because they are a bit long, and some of the songs in some of them, Cough Cough, Falling to Bits, are just filler or just something that gets annoying after a few loops. And additionally, as opposed to them in video form, when you download any of the respective games on the GameJolt page, on top of the game itself, it will also come with the soundtrack as an album, and you can like drag that onto your phone or whatever and listen to it on Google Play for free. I thought that was a nice touch. It even has like album art, and it says that it's by me and everything. And I just thought that is pretty cool. So if you want to listen to them the best way, in my opinion, then also download them through Game Jolt, and which basically means download the game and then get the soundtrack out of it, and it'll come with all of the tracks as audio files, and it has album art and all that cool stuff. And then finally, as for other things to do with this channel, one thing that I want to start up is a series where I talk about video games. Kind of like, I guess, AVGN or Scott the Woz or any of that kind of stuff, if you're familiar with it. If you're not familiar with Scott the Woz, please watch him. He's my favorite YouTuber, and he is probably one of my favorite people. And he makes, in my opinion, the best content on the platform, so really check him out. He's a great guy. He makes great, really entertaining videos, and I really like him. So, me gushing about Scott aside, I want to make a series of videos where I talk about video games because, and please excuse my messy room, I've fully pretty much completed my game room. If I can just move a few things and then put Wario World back on the shelf. I have a lot of video games now. I took this room, which is up to this point was just a cluttered mess of random unorganized things, and I got shelves, and I put things on the shelves. I have a whole... Hang on, it looks weird without the infinity bits. I have a bunch of DVDs, and I have PS2, which I just use as a DVD player, because I am a Nintendo fanboy. I have an NES, I have GameCube games, and then a decorative GameCube that doesn't actually work that a friend gave to me. And then I have NES games, and I have Wii and Wii U games, and 3DS and Switch games, and they're all like ordered alphabetically. And it's a really neat setup, and I have a whole bunch of video games in this really neat looking arrangement, and it kind of feels pointless if I don't share it in some way. So I want to start a series where I just review games, or talk about games, or just do stuff to do with games. One thing that isn't my strong suit is talking and articulating my point. Hopefully, despite my incoherent babbling that just happened, you can understand what I'm trying to say. And in the videos, they'd be very like heavily edited, not too heavily, but heavily enough that it feels like a quality piece of entertainment. And I put in one of the DVDs upside down. And in a lot of them, I would review games or talk about games in like a bunch. So I'd rarely talk about just one single game. Like, for example, there could be a video talking about the Mario Maker series, and it would be about Mario Maker and Mario Maker 2 and Mario Maker 3DS. Or a video talking about the Wii games, not just the Wii games, but, the ones that say Wii at the beginning, like Wii Sports and Wii Play and Wii Music, those ones. Wii Music being a criminally underrated title, in my opinion. There's a hot take for you. So yeah, I'm gonna try working on that too. It's not gonna be super duper priority, but let me know if that sounds interesting or not. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to make this video to release all of my thoughts to all of you, and just explain what's been going on, confirm that I am not dead, and my channel, even though my channel is dead, that I am not trying to kill it. And, I am going to be working on a whole bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff I have been working on that's out on, like, Game Jolt and stuff that you should really check out. and I'm gonna try to be a lot more active. So yeah, just random video to try and update you. It's way longer than it really needs to be, but that's because I take forever to talk and make my point. And I apologize for making a 20-minute video where I say something that could have probably been said in 5 minutes or less. With all of that being said, stay tuned for content, because I'm actively trying to actually start making content again, and I'm gonna try and go back to making the Infinity Bit stuff, and also I'm gonna make normal YouTube type videos like I was just saying, and check out my stuff on Game Jolt, because no one has really looked at it, and it would really, really mean a lot to me, especially the music, because I poured my heart and soul into that music, man. That's a little melodramatic. I poured a lot of time into it, I'll give you that. I don't really know how to end videos, so goodbye.